Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Very Cold Lasagna podcast. I'm your host, DylanLasagna, and this is episode number 222 of this icy yet spicy podcast for all the filthy casual takes on the world of sports. And in this episode, we're here to talk about some wrestling. So not some football in this one. We're here to talk about some wrestling because a WWE pay-per-view took place this past Saturday, and that pay-per-view happened to be Bad Blood. So yeah, pay-per-view that hasn't been around for quite some time, 20 years to be exact. Yes, the 2024 edition of WWE Bad Blood took place this past Saturday, and we're here to talk about that pay-per-view in our review here on Very Cold Lasagna. So sit back, relax, get those earphones, get those headphones, however you want to listen to this episode, because we have some thoughts on this particular pay-per-view, or as the cool kids like to say nowadays, premium live event, those PLEs, pal. So we're here to talk about it here on Very Cold Lasagna today. But before we get started, talking about Bad Blood, a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. And if you do hear something in the back going, woo, that is my fan. It is hot in this room. It's been hot this past week, and I probably complained about it in the last episode, but it is hot where I live, and I've been trying to hydrate. And for those of you in my state, in my area, or if it's hot in your state too, get some water. Get some damn water. Hydrate yourself with some water, some cold drinks, some very cold lasagna. But don't eat the actual very cold lasagna because that's bad for you. But just stay hydrated, because staying hydrated is good for you. You don't want to be dehydrated in this hot weather. Yes, even in October, early October. Like, what the heck, man? But anyway, housekeeping before we get started. Nonetheless, make sure you follow Very Cold Lasagna on social media, on X and Instagram at Very Cold Lasagna. So you can also catch up on my other weird takes on the world of sports. And if you're listening to this on audio, whether it's on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you rate and review the show 1 to 5 stars, and leave a nice little review, whether it's the good or you want to leave me some feedback. I always appreciate it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you smash the like button, smash the subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. Leave a comment down below with your own filthy casual takes on each and every episode of the Very Cold Lasagna podcast, or the videos that go up exclusively on YouTube. And with this particular episode, it is the 2024 Bad Blood pay-per-view for the WWE. And make sure you smash the notification bell so you'll be notified of each and every episode and video that goes up on the YouTube channel. And make sure you share this with your friends, share this with your neighbors, share this with a stranger, share this with your colleagues, whether it's at work or at school, wherever you get Very Cold Lasagna on YouTube. Make sure spread the good, the bad, the ugly, all about Very Cold Lasagna. That being said, let's get right into it. Let's talk about this show, WWE Bad Blood. Bad Blood, first introduced on October 5th, 1997, as part of the In Your House pay-per-view series. For those of you that didn't catch my retro review of the last Bad Blood pay-per-view that I talked about back in June, In Your House was basically WWE's how WWE used to run these monthly premium live events that the cool kids like to call nowadays. But nonetheless, the In Your House pay-per-view series was how WWE, or the WWF, used to run their pay-per-view series. It was first introduced back in 1995. And then, well, it's discontinued now for the monthly tier pay-per-view models. But they used to call the pay-per-view model In Your House. Bad Blood happened to be one of them. And it was first introduced on, as the date I mentioned, October 5th, 1997. And 6 years later, the event returned as a Raw exclusive event, which was under the brand extension that I talked about in that same retro review that he did a particular year of that Bad Blood event in 2003, and the one I did, 2004, both taking place in June. Unfortunately for that Bad Blood event, it was discontinued and replaced by ECW One Night Stand and Vengeance in 2005, the following year. So WWE wouldn't bring it back until, right now, this year. Ironically, on that date, October 5th. So originally, they did have plans to bring it back much sooner than this, back in 2017. But as we all know, they decided to bring back No, not even bring back. They introduced a one-off event called Great Balls of Fire. Yeah, you all remember that interesting, suggestive logo that they decided to use. Yeah, it literally was a logo that we don't want to talk about here. I don't even remember. I don't even know if I watched that event, Great Balls of Fire. Did you watch it? I don't know. I don't even know what happened at that event. But anyway, in June there was rumblings of bringing back this event to commemorate the 27th. I don't know why 27th of all numbers. It's kind of like that anniversary for Super Mario, the 35th anniversary. You all remember the Super Mario 3D collection? But anyway, the 27th anniversary of the first ever Hell in a Cell match, and they decided to bring back Bad Blood on October 5th, which became official back in July, and it was going to be held at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia, home of the Atlanta Hawks of the NBA. So that's where we are with this event, and that's why the Hell in a Cell match, it's basically here. It's basically why it's here, and that's why it's at this event. This event, interestingly too, it also had an earlier start time of 6 p.m. Eastern in my time, 3 p.m. Pacific, to avoid competing with UFC 307, which was also happening on the same night. So they didn't want to have any conflicting conflicts of interest or any competition with the UFC. Also because, well, they were under the they're also under the TKO umbrella now. So they're probably UFC. Dana were probably like, hey, now you can't run at the same time as us, pal. So you got to move. You got to have your pay-per-view start earlier. So that's most likely what the conversation had to be had. Also during this event, you saw the women's tag team champions Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, as well as Naomi, the Big Three, as they like to call themselves. They were the hosts of this event, and well, let's just say, yeah, were they really doing anything during this event other than being the VIP area for much of the night? Like, what substantial thing were they really doing? Like, let's be honest here. It's like, if you're gonna name them the hosts of this event, and like, can you actually have them do something substantial? Like, that's just Bianca, Jade, and Naomi, but it's just like, whoever you're gonna make, like The Miz, for example. Like, how is it that The Miz did something at SummerSlam? Be with Jelly Roll, do this segment with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. They do something kind of substantial. They actually have a segment, and yet all Bianca, Jade, and Naomi do is like chill in the VIP area. Oh, they did get one segment with, kind of segment-ish, with Chelsea Green, who had a dumpster match the previous night. And that was that. That was it. It's like, come on, man. What are we doing here? What's Triple H doing with them? I don't know. Either way, it was like they didn't really serve a purpose throughout the night, other than, just chill in the VIP lounge. Not MVP's VIP lounge, by the way. No, the VIP area in one of the upper decks in the arena. That was pretty much that. So that being said, we gave you all the fun facts. We gave you all the background information for this pay-per-view. Let's talk about the pay-per-view itself. We had 5 matches on this card. Yes, Triple H still has a hard-on for 5-match pay-per-views, like it's freaking his whacking old NXT shows when he used to run it back in 2017 to 2020. Like, is it too hard to ask for a 6 to 7 match show? It really isn't. To be honest with you, you can easily have fit 1 to 2 more matches. Like 7 should be your sweet spot, even if one of those matches is on the pre-show. It literally is not that hard to ask, Triple H. Like 5 matches with a bunch of filler segments, like having all these legends in Atlanta. I mean, it's nice to see them, but it's just like half the crowd didn't like care for much of them. Like, let's be real here. Like, it was just filler. It was just filler for most of it. But I mean, I will say, like, with these shorter cards, the upside is it's like the show was done in like 2.5 hours, I guess. No, not even 2. No, I'm sorry. I thought the start time was like 4. No, the show was done in like 3.5 hours. So I mean, that's something, I guess. But still, it was a lot of like in between matches. There's just a bunch of filler. So it is what it is. let's get into the match card itself. And there's some big debate on what was going to open and close the show. And, well, this match started off the show. And that was Drew McIntyre versus CM Punk inside Hell in a Cell. I know there was a lot of debate on this match. Should have been the main event of the pay-per-view because, well, that was the whole reason why they brought back this event. You know, the match that introduced Hell in a Cell with Undertaker and Shawn Michaels being the first one in it, and now you're commemorating the 27th anniversary. Again, weird number, but this is the whole reason why you brought back the pay-per-view. To commemorate that 27th anniversary and bring back Hell in a Cell, and it's opening the show. It's a little sketchy there, but we'll talk about that other match and whether it would be the right decision to have that main event. But let's talk about this match. So, reason why we're here. Reason why we had this rematch between Drew and Punk. Well, as some of you may have known, Drew had beaten Punk at SummerSlam, but, albeit unintentional help from Seth Rollins, who served as the special guest referee. But then CM Punk won a 4-corner strap match back at Bash in Berlin, both taking place in August, by the way. Punk was ready to move on from his feud with Drew, but obviously, knowing how wrestling works, it's tied one apiece, and Drew wouldn't let him move on. He sent Punk back to the hospital on the following Raw with another brutal assault that included breaking his special bracelet and shoving it down his mouth. And that assault led to Adam Pearce making the most anticipated announcement for this feud that we've been waiting for: Hell in a Cell. So those 4 little words that we've all been waiting for since this feud started nearly a year ago, that, when CM Punk made his return at Survivor Series, Drew was all pissed. And then a couple months later, Punk gets legitimately hurt. Not to the fault of Drew McIntyre, though, and not to the fault of Punk, because injuries happen. But they built that feud on that injury. But this is what we've been waiting for. This has been 9 months in the making. Hell in a Cell. All this beef, all this shit talk. Punk costing Drew multiple chances at the world title. Drew gained payback on that. And here we are. 9 months of this has come to this. Inside sane structure. And yeah, you could see why people were up in arms on why this match opened the show rather than main event the show, because these were two guys. Yeah, sure. People had questions about Punk up there in age, not being the guy he once was, but I mean, he's done his share. He's done his load in this feud against Drew McIntyre, who, mind you, Drew has been doing the best work of his career with this feud with Punk. He has elevated himself to another level with his character work, with his character work, his mic work, his mannerisms. He has been such an asset of this feud, carrying it despite Punk being injured, and then Punk doing all he can despite being injured. It's a testament to how much they have done without physically interacting with each other until that SummerSlam match. So, yeah, people were like, why isn't this main eventing this blood feud that's about to end inside one of the most dangerous matches in professional wrestling? How is this not how is not the headlining match of a pay-per-view you specifically brought back for? It's an interesting choice, but there ended up being a reason for that, and we'll talk about what that reason was much later on in this pay-per-view review. So when it comes to this actual match, I mean, initially I was kind of skeptical because the first chunk of this match didn't really do a whole lot, in my opinion. Let's be honest here. It didn't really do a whole lot to hook me in, because they were doing the same kind of song and dance that the SummerSlam and Bash in Berlin match did. The two were fighting each other like they were going to war. And it's just like, we kind of seen this already. But then when we got Drew hitting the Claymore on CM Punk on the outside, and then he used CM Punk as a javelin into the cell wall, and then he started bleeding, and then we see him dominating the next 10 minutes of the match before Punk even the field with a toolbox to the head that made Drew bleed. Then we kicked into the next gear. That's when the match started slowly but surely started to get really freaking good. It was chaotic good from there. It's like you start to see the seeds of the story beats starting to come back in this feud. Like it was all starting to come together. Like these two were going to high and hell water in this match. Like some of the beats in this match included like Drew like wisely rolling out of the ring after a GTS, and then once he got back in, hit a Claymore, only for Punk to kick out. And then much later on, he had Drew superplexing Punk through a table outside, and then the effects it had on both men afterwards. Like Drew, like once Drew got up, he was trying to lift the steel steps into the ring. He was trying to throw it over the ring, but his back gave out. It's clear that he was getting burnt out. His back was giving out on him. And then Punk, it took him like a really long time because he got the worst of it. And of course, his age, his injuries, and his time away from the ring, obviously. So this match clearly was taking a toll on them. I mean, they knew what they were getting into. And as Michael Cole said, like, you don't leave this match the same. And it is clear that this match was not going to make them leave the same. So back in the ring, Drew hits this nasty white noise on Punk on the big steel steps he brought in. So it leads to a very close near fall. And then it is the closing moments of this match where they really tapped into those story beats. The story beats that brought this all together. After CM Punk locked in the Anaconda device, Drew tries to escape it. But Punk saw him try to escape it with a wrench. But Punk grabbed it and reopened the flesh wound that caused Drew to bleed again, like severely. But it seemed like Punk was gonna like bash his head in with the wrench. So he made Drew beg and plead not to do it. But Punk let his emotions get the best of him, and Drew baited him in with the low blow. He dick punched him. But Drew, he was gonna do a Claymore on him. Oh no, not gonna do a Claymore on him. But he actually, while Punk was trying to let his dick recover, Drew grabbed a bag that seemingly I thought it was gonna be thumbtacks. Like it's like, you must be a ruthless man. And I thought he was gonna Claymore Punk with it. I thought he was just gonna throw that thing and then hit Punk with it. But no, it was actually a bag of beads, and then he poured it all over CM Punk, and that reminded him of his broken friendship bracelet. So Drew tried to Claymore Punk, but Punk sidestepped him, and then Drew landed spine first onto the big steel steps. It was just like, oh man, ouch. And then Punk got payback on Drew with the beads. He stuffed it into his mouth, just like Drew had done to him weeks prior. And then that was it. The finish saw CM Punk hit Drew with a chain sealed, go to sleep, and then it's over. A near year-long feud came to an end with an emphatic go to sleep, and CM Punk standing tall in the end. Now, some people are debating, why did CM Punk win this feud? Maybe Drew should have won this. I mean, you don't have to. I mean, I get it. CM Punk has done much worse in this feud. It's debatable, actually. I mean, yeah, CM Punk cost Drew his moments. Multiple moments. He might have overstepped his boundaries. Let's be honest here. Like costing Drew in his home country, and then costing Drew again with his Money in the Bank cash in. But yeah, at the same time, it's just like Drew attacked him in his hometown of Chicago. And then this all started, let's be honest with you, with Drew, quote unquote, injuring Punk. Well, let's be honest. I mean, in fairness, Punk legit got injured, but I mean, in storyline context, Drew, quote unquote, injured Punk. They used that injury as a storyline. So, yeah, I mean, Punk in the end has a right to win this feud. He had a right to win this feud, and I think it was better for him to win this feud, because had he lost this feud, like, what do we really do here for Punk in the end? Let's be honest here. This is his first major feud, and he was gonna lose it in the end. Like, really? And I thought Punk held his own in this one. Like, the one in Berlin, he really did. I thought he did fine, but in this one, yeah, he looked a little gassed at first, but then he really picked it up in the end. I think Drew will be fine. He's despite losing the feud technically, I think his character work, it'll serve itself. It'll serve it. His character work helped him elevate himself beyond this feud. Yeah, some people say, oh, it's a waste and all that, but I feel like in the end, Drew, what he did for this feud, I think it still helps him. It really still helps him. Now, the thing is, though, I just think, what does he do after this? What does Drew McIntyre do after this feud? I mean, the best thing I could think of is, maybe taking a month off if you're McIntyre, because it's like you've been doing so much for this feud that maybe he can get a well-earned break after this. Because, I mean, if we're looking at it, there really isn't much for McIntyre to do at the moment. There really isn't much like babyface competition that he can go after, and to give him a bounce back victory after losing such a top tier feud against CM Punk. I mean, yeah, there really isn't anything at the moment for Drew McIntyre, especially with Raw going to 2 hours for the time being, and for CM Punk. Compared to CM Punk, who can, do some filler feuds, like, go after Dominic Mysterio, Liv Morgan, maybe do a side program, like a friendly rivalry with Jey Uso, or do a filler, something filler with, I don't know, with Imperium's Ludwig Kaiser, or maybe even challenge Gunther for the World Heavyweight title before he gets to that big Mania program with Seth Rollins that they were supposed to have this year. Yeah, it's easier for CM Punk to move on to the next thing compared to Drew McIntyre. So, yeah, it'll be interesting what they do next for both of these guys. But as for this match, the payoff for this near year-long feud, I think this was very well done. Like, these two men, I don't know if I necessarily put this as a top 10 all-time Hell in a Cell match, but the storytelling that they did in it was absolutely really good. Like, this is a really well done Hell in a Cell match from a storytelling perspective, and I guess at some parts an in-ring perspective. And this whole match is once again justification for why this is the feud of the year in 2024. Like, nothing comes leaps and bounds across from it. Like, nothing. Like, absolutely nothing. So moving on, like, we asked ourselves, how was any other match on this show gonna top what we just saw? Like, this, like, when you saw that Hell in a Cell was gonna be opening this show, and they absolutely deliver. Well, what were we gonna get next? What match on this show were we gonna get next that, well, had the unfortunate honor to try and follow this up? That match happened to be the WWE Women's Champion Nia Jax going up against Bayley. This was a rematch from their encounter at SummerSlam. Bayley getting her rematch, but she had to earn it the hard way, because General Manager Nick Aldis informed Nia Jax that she would have to defend the title at Bad Blood, and the former champion Bayley, who took a little break after losing the title at SummerSlam, returned 2 weeks earlier at Bad Blood, before Bad Blood, saying she wanted a rematch. She wanted her rematch for the title, but Naomi, Bayley's friend, interjected and demanded her own title shot. So this prompted Nia to propose a kind of a weird stipulated tag team match between herself, her friend Tiffany Stratton, going up against Bayley and Naomi, where whichever one between the two pins Nia Jax gets the title match at Bad Blood. But if Bayley and Naomi lose that match, they were permanently banned from SmackDown, so they'd have to go to Raw. And even if they were in the draft, they would be ineligible to be drafted to SmackDown. I don't know. It was a confusing stipulation. But in that match the following week, both Bayley and Naomi pinned Nia. So the next week, Nick also made a singles match between the two, and Bayley won that match against Naomi. So it's just like, my thinking was like, why didn't they just make a triple threat in the first place? I mean, that would have been the easier route, or just do the singles match from the jump. It was like, why are we just dragging this along? I don't know. It was just weird. So, like I said, it was going to be very hard to top what just happened in the opening match before, but I'll give a little bit of props. They were fine. They were not too shabby in this one, especially Nia Jax, man. Like, I think Nia Jax continues to impress in this run. Like, it's been a little bit over a year since she came back, and I'll eat a bunch of crow, laughing at it during the opening week of Monday Night Football from last year, and here we are now. I'll eat my crow and say, like, Nia Jax has turned a corner. She's turned the page on me, and like, my God, she is massively improved. She is like really improved. Okay, massively is a bit of a stretch, but she has really improved since her first run. Like, this second run, she has done very well for herself. She was dominating a large chunk of this match, but then once again, she was showing some interesting offense in this match, like countering Bayley's corner powerbomb attempt, like into Hurricanrana. Like, well, damn, like, I didn't know, like, I don't know if that was supposed to happen, or like maybe Nia just wanted to try something. Like, okay, Nia's got hoops. Nia got them hoops on. But anyway, Nia brought some interesting offense into this match, like that. Maybe say, okay, all right, Nia, I'm not gonna question you too much anymore. But she definitely brought the hoops in this match. Interestingly enough, there was a rep bump in this match. Jessica Carr, fell victim to the rep bump, where Bayley kicked Nia Jax, and Nia, in reaction, fell onto Jessica Carr, the referee. Bayley, while the referee was down, then hit up a pop-up stunner, and then her finishing move, the Rose Plant, but there's no ref to count the pin. Bayley had the title won, but where was the ref? So, you know what that meant? It's Tiffy time, and I was calling this, like, for a large majority of the match, like, Tiffany Stratton. It's her time. Tiffany Stratton came out and was gonna cash in her Money in the Bank contract. She knocked out Bayley, and then she revived the referee, and then she actually gave the contract to the referee, but then she was just like standing there. She's still hesitant. Like, what are you doing? Don't give it a second thought. Nia Jax has been abusing your butt for weeks now, and then she's still having a second thought. Like wake the referee up and then tell her to cash that thing in. But then she's still having second thoughts about it, and then when she turns around, Nia Jax sits up like the Undertaker. Like, what? Like, since when did Nia Jax have Undertaker powers? Like, what is going on here? What is she, Samoan Undertaker now? I was like, what the hell? When did she get these powers? Anyway, so she saw what Tiffany was doing, and this pissed her off. They get into an argument, and this is going to lead to even more problems in their friendship. So Bayley takes advantage of the distraction. She tries to use the fruit roll-up on Nia Jax, but Nia Jax kicks out. And Bayley knocks her out one more time, tries to go for one more Macho Man elbow, but Tiffany distracts her long enough for Nia to hit the Avalanche Samoan drop, and then drags her to hit the Annihilator to win the match and keep her title. Weird decision. Weird decision to not have Tiffany cash in there and there, because like, this was such a prime opportunity, a prime chance to have her do it. With all these weeks of Tiffany getting abused by your friend Nia, yet they don't do it here. Why are they gonna keep dragging it on? Like, if they're gonna keep dragging on, they gotta be more creative with it. Like, Triple H, please show some creativity with some of these things, please. Like, this is just another one of those times, because this is just another one of those times where they should have just struck while the iron was hot. But they didn't. But I'll say this though, if there was a positive with this particular instance, is that it at least made Nia look smart in a sense, because had Tiffany successfully cashed in, she would have made Nia look a little dumb. But since Nia knew what Tiffany was doing, it didn't make her look like a fool. Kind of like how Nia was in 2018 when her and Alexa Bliss were having their problems. And when Nia was cashed in by Alexa Bliss. So I guess that's that. But still though, at some point, they got to strike with this Tiffany cash-in, and it has to be a successful cash-in, because if it isn't a successful cash-in, it just makes Tiffany look even dumber, man. Like, come on, we can't do that with a promising young star in Tiffany Stratton. Like, just can't have that. So that was Bayley losing to Nia Jax. Nia Jax keeps her title for the time being, but Nia Jax has earned it. She's been doing very solid in her second run. So moving on to the next match, we have the first of two Judgment Day matches, and the first one involves Damian Priest going up against his old buddy Finn Balor. So like I said, the first of two Judgment Day related matches, but this one has really taken a backseat to the next match we're about to talk about, and whatever the fuck Triple H is doing to fuck up this story so bad. And I feel like, Triple H, not just with this overall Judgment Day story, but I feel like he has really he's completely ignored this part of the story with Finn and Damian. And I mean, not particularly a fan of Finn Balor, nor Damian Priest for that matter. But I mean, like, when you get me at least somewhat like invested in a story like this, especially in the specific aspect of the other match that we're going to be talking about, then yeah, you got me hooked. Especially on a group that I've been very hard on. I mean, not like, that way. Like, I've been very critical on, since, especially with how last year they've been. But that's besides the point. So anyway, with this particular match, Finn cost Priest his World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam after backstabbing him in his match versus Gunther as payback for what Priest did, costing Finn his title shots against Seth Rollins last year, with the whole Money in the Bank contract that Priest was holding at the time. It was also payback for Balor on both Priest and Rhea for breaking the Judgment Day's rules, having no leaders, no egos, after he claimed that they started acting as such leaders late last year when they were overstepping their boundaries on the rest of the group. So, after Finn reveals his new Judgment Day squad, pretty much nothing else happens after that. And now here we are a month later. Finn goes into detail on why he's not a sidekick to Damian Priest. And then they agree to a match of Bad Blood. Yeah. It's a match that happens. And this match surely lived up to the hype. The hype of how this feud has been going since SummerSlam. Like, slow as hell. Nothing really going on. Like, it's kind of the equivalent of Jimmy versus... I don't know if I could say it's worse than Jimmy versus Jay on WrestleMania, to be honest. But this was... I really couldn't get into this match, like, at all. Because, like, it's basically how they've been booking Damian Priest, like, this superhuman, and then Finn Balor, like, he's trying to run away, but he is putting in some offense. But Damian Priest, more than half of this match, was dominating, like, that easily. And this was, like, again, a slow match that easily could have been on a Raw go-home show. They literally could have put this match on the Bad Blood go home Raw. Like, that's how bad this match was. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. So in the closing moments of this match, Damian Priest had the match won, but the rest of the Judgment Day came out, that being Carlito and JD McDumbass, to distract Priest. While Carlito was distracting the referee, McDumbass attacked Priest from behind, and Balor took advantage with a coup de grace, his diving double foot stop tantrum. But Priest kicked out of it. Balor tried to use a chair behind the referee's back, but Priest blocked the attempt, and Finn Balor managed to counter Priest, got out of the South of Heaven, and used 2 coup de grace on his back. I don't know if that was supposed to be whatever he was doing, but nonetheless, he hit him with 2 coup de grace onto Priest's back. But despite that, despite trying to go for a third one, Priest countered it, hit the South of Heaven chokeslam to win this very uneventful match. So, yeah, this is a match that happened. And I'll be honest with you, they really shouldn't continue this feud. Like, what a disappointment. Really, if you could tell by the tone of my voice when I'm talking about this match, that's just pretty much how it is. I'm like very disappointed. Like I know I'm not a Finn Balor fan. I'm not a Damian. Damian Priest. I'll be honest. He was okay. He kind of grew on me a little bit, right before SummerSlam with how he's been conducting himself as a World Heavyweight Champion. I thought he was being booked all right. He booked a little bit better as a world in that feud against Gunther. And even before that feud against Gunther, he's conducting himself a little bit better. Being booked better. But then since then, it's just like Triple H has been like booking him way too hard as this super hulkish like baby face, like as if he's not affected by anything. It's like they stripped away all of his elements that made him very relatable, very good. To the fans of him in the IWC, like back in July, back in late June. It's like there's like nothing. They took away a good amount of his heat from back in the summer. And it's like there's nothing there now. So it's just like, even if they were to continue this feud, where do you even go from here? Like, after Triple H has not only ignored this story since the Raw after SummerSlam, but he's made Finn Balor look like a chump again. You tell me. Like, really, you tell me. Because I really don't want to see it. Like, I really don't. He's continually made like Finn Balor look like a chump. And he continues to make the New Judgment Day look like chumps. So then we had a segment with Triple H, which was supposed to be some historical announcement that they just literally announced the day of. So Triple H came out to announce that next month at Crown Jewel in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, the top champions of both men's and women's side on both brands will be facing off in champion versus champion matches to determine the Crown Jewel champion. And it have this big ass championship. So both the WWE and World Heavyweight Champion will be facing off in one match, and the Women's World Champion and the WWE Women's Champion will be facing off in another match. And each of the winners of each match would get that Crown Jewel Championship. So they basically turned the Best in the World trophy. They stole Shane McMahon's Best in the World title trophy and turned it into a championship. Okay, who asked for this? Like, why? Why couldn't you just brought back Shane and defend that trophy? I don't know, man. I don't know what they're doing. So then Gunther came out because, well, we haven't had a world heavyweight a world champion, like one of the top world champions on this show in like the past 2 hours. So Gunther came out to talk about the title and then talk shit about legends again because, that's what Gunther likes to do. Including Bill Goldberg, who he previously talked shit about, who was in attendance. He once again talked shit about Bill Goldberg, and then he also decided to talk shit about his son too, which led to Goldberg hopping the barricade. And oh man, when I was watching that segment, I can imagine all the tears from the IWC, crying at a potentially teased feud between Goldberg and the King General. Oh man, like all the fear, all like, oh no, is Goldberg gonna hurt my King General? Oh man, it's like I could smell it, I could sense it, pal. But anyway, yeah. While security was separating Goldberg, Sami Zayn ran into the ring from the crowd to attack Gunther to build some heat for their title match on Monday before security separated them. So just to build a little heat for their match on Monday. But for that title, that really big title, like why are we doing that? It's like another super unnecessary sponsorship championship, but whatever. Next up, we had the other women's championship match and the other Judgment Day related match. The women's world champion, Liv Morgan, taking on Rhea Ripley. Yeah, I'm like disappointed in how this feud has gone down the shitter. So, how this feud has transpired so far? Well, after they made their relationship official at SummerSlam in front of her, Rhea Ripley got a measure of revenge on Liv and Dom at Bash in Berlin by pinning Liv in mixed tag team action, which involved Liv and Dom taking on Rhea and Damian. So Rhea used that as a case to claim her rematch for Liv's title, and she wanted it at Bad Blood. So Liv went on to accept Rhea's challenge after laying an assault that injured Rhea's knee. So Rhea's knee was kind of injured for 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm like, so if it was only injured for 2 weeks, why even have why even like go through that? And why even bring it up? Like, they barely brought it up. It's like, what the hell? Anyway, while Liv and Dom were bragging, having their little victory lap, which is still kind of cute, by the way. Rhea mentioned to Liv and Dom that she was medically cleared. Okay. And then she brought up to Liv that at Bad Blood, she was going to be facing Liv. Guess what the stipulation was? Not Hell in a Cell. Not a no disqualification match. Not an I Quit match like I wanted them to have at Bad Blood. No. A shark cage. Dominic Mysterio would be hanging high above the ring inside a shark cage. I kid you not. Like, I get it. The visual of it would be funny. And I'll admit, like, it was kind of funny seeing Dominic hanging above it, like high above in a shark cage. I mean, that was kind of funny, but it's just like, really, this is what we're doing. When you look at the grand scheme of this feud, this is what we're really doing with this feud. Like, are we kidding ourselves? Like, you know, you have this feud that's been going on for months now, like, you know, that spans from what, 2 years now. Like, you have history between these two, like, and like that should have been explored. This should have been explored by this point, like, and now that the history that has been expanded upon since Liv has been doing all this stuff, like kissing Dom, you know, doing all this exploration stuff while Rhea was away, and then Rhea coming back and having been betrayed. The ultimate betrayal at SummerSlam, mind you. And now it's been rinse and repeat since Bash in Berlin. This is what we were getting at Bad Blood? Dom in a shark cage? And I get it. So some people say it's like, oh, it's Liv playing mind games, or it's Rhea not focusing on the championship. It's like, you know, for people that aren't really diving, that don't really feel like diving into this, it's just like, from a surface level perspective, it's just like, come on, man, what are we doing here? So, on a positive note with this match, I like the entrance. I really dig the entrance for this match. Like, Liv and Dom entered the State Farm Arena in a Lucha Lowrider. Like, forget the sponsorship. That Lucha Lowrider was something really cool. they're entering the arena, riding that shit. Dom was honoring Eddie like the life depended on it. He was like so damn good, and then Liv was getting on top of him as she got out. It's like, chill, girl, like chill. We can't cross the boundaries yet, girl. Oh man. But yeah, that was such a really nice entrance. And I have nothing else to say. Oh, I will say that the lowrider donned the red and gold of my 49ers, and it was just like, okay, Dom, Liv, you need to get on that Niner train, but Dom, you got my respect. The shark cage, however, as many had thought, was not raised above the ring, and instead was raised near the ringside area. And me and my friend that were watching this was like, why is it not raised above the ring? Well, and then I came to the conclusion that, well, it might have to do with the Hell in a Cell above the ring already. So it was kind of weird logistics of why they couldn't put the shark cage in there, but it is what it is. Maybe they couldn't construct it during the segment, but I don't know. Anyway, the match itself was it was all right. And I think Liv did really well for herself. She sold really well for Rhea, like she always does, and she hooped. She kind of hooped in the ring. She had some nice offense. She pretty much laid it on Rhea, and I feel like she even kind of outperformed Rhea herself. And then she introduced a second time her new signature move that she calls the Homewrecker, which is, yeah, some people will debate on that, but it is what it is. So I feel like Liv offensively in this match, she was performing really well. Heck, even sometimes a little bit better than Rhea did in this one. So from what I can say about Liv from an in-ring perspective, she was doing pretty good in this match. I feel like Liv, I know some people are debating about her in-ring skills. She is a pretty good in-ring storytelling wrestler. That's why I'll put it at that. So Dom eventually found a way to open the cage door, but then when he saw Rhea hit a riptide on Liv on the floor, Dom tried to reach out for her, but then he reached too far, and he started dangling above the shark cage. And then when she saw Dom dangling above the shark cage, for whatever reason, this is where things really started to go downhill for this match. Why in the hell would Rhea want to spend some time away from the match, having a little fun at the expense of Dom? I guess it has to go back to the point. Well, it's kind of contradictory what I'm saying. I guess it goes back to the point of not focusing on the title. Letting her emotions get to the best of her again. But at the same time, it also makes her look really stupid. And this is where the match goes downhill. It makes Rhea look really stupid. So Rhea, she sees Dom dangling off the cage by a thick hair of his foot. So Rhea, rather than try and win the title back, she once again, wants to have some fun at the expense of Dominic. And then she asked the referee, oh, hey, can you give me a minute to let me have some fun with my old boy toy? And then for whatever reason, the referee's like, okay, all right, sure. As long as that works for you, brother. Yeah, it's like the favoritism again. It's like, what the hell? Focus on the damn match, girl. And then, yeah, Rhea grabbed the kendo stick, and then she was going to use Dom like a piñata. Oh my God. The booking in this match was so bad. It's like Liv was knocked down the ring. Rhea was about to go piñata on Dom. It was at this point, it's just it's just started to become unfunny, man. This is real. This is abuse. This is abuse toward my boy Dominic. So Rhea, like I said, uses Dom like a piñata. But then Rhea has too much fun playing with Dom like a piñata, playing Fiesta, because out of nowhere, was more karma from her past. The returning Raquel Rodriguez. As sadly expected, Big Mommy Cool is back. And the way that this went down, it makes it even more disappointing. Because I think what happened was, like, because of how things went down, it was so wonky that they called a disqualification. Like, they were forced to call disqualification rather than what I've seen on the Twitterverse. The original finish was supposed to be Liv pinning Rhea thanks to Raquel. But what I believe happened was Raquel came too early because she came out when everyone, like, security was trying to get Dom down, and then the referee was coming to, check on Dom, but then Raquel came like just a tad second too early while the referee was like right there, and then yeah, that happened. So this was bad on all fronts, whether it was Raquel's fault, whether it was the referee's fault. This was very poorly executed. And WWE's trying to do damage control, saying, oh, Liv beat Rhea, she pinned Rhea, whatnot. It was still very poorly executed. And let me just say this. You all got what you wanted. You all got what you wanted with Raquel helping Liv. Now she's aligned with Liv. Whether she's with the Judgment Day now, that's debatable. I could give two fucks less, though. Look what the fuck happened. I like Raquel, okay? But what did I say 2 months ago when I made that video? Go watch back that video, by the way, about Raquel being interjected into this storyline. Her aligning or even helping Liv and Dom makes no damn sense. It literally doesn't make any sense. Like, because when you look at this, Raquel had the championship that Rhea was holding costed by Dominic. Like why should she be forgiving Dominic for that? Why even if that was the case? Also, why would she be coming back to see Liv, going as far as she has been with the revenge tour, and then seeing that she's with the person that she had costed her the championship last year? Like, what is going on here? Like, what are we trying to accomplish here? The story should have been like maybe they go for the DQ finish still, or I don't know, Raquel costing Rhea the title but staying a lone wolf because she doesn't like what Liv has become with Dom. Like, she's become this completely different person. She's no longer that little Liv that Raquel first was, or vice versa. I'm losing my words here. That Liv was with Raquel when they were tag team partners. That should have been a story. Raquel going after both of them. There we go. That's the better way to phrase it. Either way, this is a mess. This is a mess that we're about to go into. I mean, we get it. Some people like it, some people don't. I personally don't like it because we all know how this is going to end up eventually. We're about to reach the inevitable here, ladies and gentlemen, because Rhea is eventually going to get this championship back at WrestleMania. We all know this. Either it's at WrestleMania or it's going to be much earlier than WrestleMania. This is going to be the Rhea Ripley redemption story. Even though Rhea Ripley is not the hero in this story. Like, she is not. So, and when it comes to Raquel, she's going to eventually see Dom for who he truly is, or Liv's going to backstab Raquel, or vice versa down the line. As Rhea, again, eventually gets her redemption story. This is going to be the Raquel and Dakota dynamic all over again. Like how they were in NXT a couple years ago. It's like I was talking about in that video. Go back and watch it. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? I don't know, man. I really don't. I really don't get what they're going with. It's just like, and it's also an indictment of the overbooking of Triple Nose Man. He's overbooking this to protect Rhea. For what? You've already ruined her by making her look goofy. I mean, I don't know, once in a while, it's fine to make her look goofy, but you made her like she's supposed to be some badass and all that, but it's like you made her do wiping the shirt, eating, but that's not been her character. Has it been her character? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But then you also made her look really again. You made her look really stupid in this match. Like, Dom's hanging above the cage, but then she still doesn't go for the title that she could have won because Dominic's hanging low fruit below the cage with his foot dangling out, and then you still like, hey, let me go have some fun of it, okay? Like, no, go pin if you want the championship, go pin Liv. It's like you're letting your emotions get the best of you. You're kind of being like an Anakin, even though you're supposed to be the Obi-Wan in this. Like, I don't know, I'm making like terrible Star Wars references because I've been kind of watching Star Wars recently. But anyway, the overbooking is such a mess right now. Triple Nose, he's too afraid. He's too afraid to make Liv look like a threat. And to be honest with you, I know Liv, she seems like a sweetheart. I don't want to speak for her, but I don't know. I just have a feeling like deep inside that sweet little heart, I would be pissed. I would be pissed at how her title reign has devolved since September. Actually, since August. With how this opportunity has presented her with injury, which is unfortunate to Rhea, but this opportunity, this has come towards you, and then you get it. You've shown the world that maybe she can be a top star, and she has proven that. And yet here she is. This is how she's been rewarded since Rhea came back, and it's devolved into her having to run away and to trying to play things off as working smarter, not harder. But on a surface level, it really isn't. And when you look at the grand scheme of things, Liv is honestly being booked not that much different under Noseman than Vince is. It's like, we got to be better than this. We got to set our standards better than this, people. It's like, we got to do better. We got to do better when it comes to this shit. It's like, I don't know what the next step is for Liv. Maybe she does a bit of side feuds. I know she's going to be facing Nia Jax for that big crown jewel title, but I don't know how that makes any sense. But after that, it's just like, what does she do from there? Oh, War Games match doesn't make a lot of sense considering what's going to happen. It's just like, I don't know. It's such a mess. That's why I tuned out of this whole feud, because it's rinse, repeat, and it's making even less sense now. That's why I've kind of stuck to football, that Monday Night Football stuff. Like the thing that kept me in this since like during the off season, and I was hoping to do a balance during football season. Well, the one thing that kept me in it, and it still kind of is with the whole Liv and Dom dynamic. It's still kind of there. It's still there actually, but damn. Triple H doing no favors with that duo. Like make them something. Liv and Dom are trying to provide you something, and you keep snatching the rug under them. Like, what are you doing? Stop protecting your golden girl so much. You're overdoing it. It's like, enough. Make her look vulnerable. Make her atone. Make her openly admit her past mistakes on national television. It's okay to make her look a little weak. Hopefully, for the rest of the year, she faces her past. She admits to her past. And once she admits to her past, people can finally relate to her. then she can have a proper redemption story. As much as I don't think she's the hero in this story, if you want to write it that way, then fine. Anyway, moving on to something more positive. And that's the main event. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, the Super Friends, the Mega Powers, taking on the fake Bloodline, Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. For this match, again, debatable on whether this should have main evented by most people. But again, there was eventually ended up being a reason for why this was main evented. But let's talk about how we got here. Roman Reigns made his return at SummerSlam, costing Solo his WWE title match against Cody Rhodes, and making it clear that he wants back what Solo stole from him, and that was the Ula Fala. That was his bloodline. But after Solo and the new bloodline had beaten him down 2 weeks later, Roman again cost him another WWE title match a month later inside of a steel cage. But he also got in the crosshairs of his rival and current champion, Cody Rhodes. Cody, he initially seemed like he was done with the bloodline, but then he decided to interject when he helped Roman fend off a bloodline attack later that same night, when he helped Roman, again, fend off an attack, and signed a contract to be Roman's partner for this tag team match. So while it didn't initially make a lot of sense for them to be teaming this soon, especially, it's like, been 5 months since they last faced each other at WrestleMania, I felt like it should have been a little bit longer down the line, like maybe at least a year. But I think what I could at least appreciate a little bit was they brought some clarity to it when Roman claimed a little clear accountability, unlike Rhea Ripley, for what he had done with his past. Losing his bloodline, losing Paul Heyman, losing Jimmy, and now he has nothing to lose. Not so hard, Rhea. Not so hard. So anyway, Cody countered that by saying, Roman's still the tribal chief. He still has plenty to fight for, despite he himself, Cody, having everything to lose. So that brings the stage for this match. So this match itself, it was all right. It was okay. It was more about the theatrics, the whole dynamic of Cody and Roman teaming up together. That's what everyone was excited for. And this was Roman's first match back since WrestleMania. And I was personally excited for that. Roman finally gracing our screens. So that was exciting to see. But it was your usual song and dance, like traditional tag team match. It's kind of like reminded me of, the Mega Powers back at SummerSlam. That SummerSlam retro review, the first ever SummerSlam retro review that I did back a couple months ago. A year ago. But there's one thing I want to touch on first. And that's Cody's special entrance. He had this marching band, college marching band play. And my God, it was such a mess. It was such a bad mess because he had the marching band play his theme song. Yet after the band played, like his music, his usual entrance went on, like how it's, wrestling is more than one royal family. His graphics went up, but then there was no music. And then they played the music. Cody came out, and then the band was still trying to play. I was like, oh, Cody. No, I don't know if that was Cody, but like, what a gaffe. What a mess. Like, did they rehearse this? Did they rehearse this before, like earlier in the day? Because this is such a mess, man. Like, whoever's in production, like, they've been like really messing things up. Like, whether it's the Titantron graphics or just like simple production cues, it's like, you can't be doing this. Like simple production cues, you gotta be on the money on that. Like, if it's like a small thing, okay, that's okay. But if it's like this, that could get you fired. That can really get you fired. And when it came to this, like this special entrance, I don't know if Cody was supposed to come out when the marching band was playing with the graphics up, but I don't know what happened here. Either way, it was such a flub up. It was a major gaffe, especially in Cody's hometown too. Like, how do you mess this up? This is Cody's hometown, and you messed this up. Like, oh my lord, lordy lord. Anyway, The finish of the match is what most people will be talking about. So the finish of the match saw Jacob Fatu and Cody brawling around ringside. Cody gets some payback on Jacob for splashing him through the announce table by hitting his own high-flying splash. So before that, he does a little like salute to Roman, like saying, "I'm going to sacrifice myself for you." And then he does his splash onto Jacob through the announce table. So that leaves Roman and Solo in the ring to finish up the match. And Roman looked to finish off Solo with a spear, but out came the Tongans, Tama Tonga and my guy Tonga Noah, to distract Roman, and that allowed Solo to spear Roman for a near fall. And it looked like Solo was about to finish off Roman with the Samoan spike. But the Tongans were yelling at him because there's someone at ringside right next to them, right there and there. And that's distracted Solo. So there was a black hooded man. And I could kind of figure out who that was, because behind that black hoodie and that bandana, well, you're about to find out, because he took out the Tongans. He super kicked Tama, he super kicked Tonga, and he let it all out. And he revealed himself as the man we've been asking for months. One, Jimmy Uso. It's like, man is finally back. It's like we waited so long to have him back, and he's back on the deserted island with Roman. So Roman took advantage to spear Solo for the win, and after realizing the situation that was in front of him, he saw Jimmy. He was like, "Are you sure? Like, are we still cool? Are we really still in it?" Jimmy was like, "Yeah." Roman hugged it out with Jimmy. Jimmy, despite all the trials and tribulations in the last year with Roman, despite all the abuse, Jimmy stayed loyal. Jimmy was the man. He was Roman's like true G. And that reunited half of the OG bloodline. So we'll talk more about like what happens next after this, because there's a lot to take in. Because as Roman and Jimmy left, Cody was attacked by the fake bloodline, and Roman was like, "No, we're done with this. We're done with Cody. Like I did what I needed to do here." But then Jimmy, he said like, "No, Oos, we still have business to take care of. There's still business at hand. Like, he helped us, we gotta help him." And then Roman was like, "Okay, come on, let's do it." So Roman and Jimmy fended off the fake ass bloodline, and man, what a shot. What a shot that we got Roman and Jimmy back in the ring, fending off the fake ass bloodline. And we all thought the show was over when Roman handed Cody his title, and Cody, in front of his hometown fans, he was about to pose with it with one last closing shot. And then we thought we were going to get a tease towards one final battle between the two down somewhere down the line. But then, if you smell the final boss, it's gonna be Bloodline rules. That's got me such ingrained after watching Sansi Zap video. Anyway, the final boss showed up down in the ATL, and he looked down Cody. He looked down Roman especially. Sorry, Jimmy. But man, holy fuck. The final boss made a special appearance, a cameo, and while he didn't make his intentions clear, the show closed out with what I think those intentions may possibly be. And that's how Bad Blood ends. And holy hell. The match itself was fine, which we all honestly expected. But for once, no ref bump, by the way, in a Roman match. There were some bloodline shenanigans, but not too many. But the ending and the post-match stuff will be what everyone will be talking about, starting with the return of Jimmy Uso. I think after this, we can finally put to rest about the Super Friends. Roman, Cody, Randy, and KO. I've been seeing a lot of talk about that in the Twitterverse, going up against the new Bloodline in War Games next month. That needs to end. That conversation needs to end, because it has has and always will be about the Bloodline Civil War games. You know, the OG Bloodline versus the new Bloodline inside War Games. And now that Jimmy is back, we're finally back on track with that. Jimmy is step 1. Step 2 and 3 are going to be to get Sami Zayn and Jey Uso back in time to get them back to the fold for next month at Survivor Series, to get the real War Games match that we've all been waiting for. Bloodline Civil War Games. That's the agenda. Not this Super Friends crap. Bloodline Civil War inside of War Games. So the next thing, The Rock. The Rock showing up. I don't know where we go from here next with The Rock. I don't know where they're going to have him show up next. Maybe they do have The Rock being inside of War Games. Maybe they have him as a special guest referee, or they have him be on the OG Bloodline. But if it's gonna be 5-on-5, who's gonna be the 5th member for the new Bloodline? Because, you know, when you think about it, I think 4v4 it should be the best option, unless they're not gonna have Sami Zayn involved in it. But I don't know. I feel like it should be 4-on-4 with you know, the Usos, Roman, and then Sami Zayn, because, you know, he was a key factor in you know, amping up the Bloodline story again. But if they want to include The Rock, then that's fine. But anyway, back to my point. I don't know where they involved The Rock in here, but I suggest he shows up next at Survivor Series either way, or at Saturday night's main event, because he's going to be key in the next part of the story, turning on Roman Reigns. Because I do think that Roman Reigns will get could get his trilogy match with Cody at Saturday's night main event, if that's the direction they're going. Then at the Royal Rumble, if that's where The Rock has his match with Cody Rhodes, where honestly it should be, Roman returns the favor to set up that ultimate dream match with Blood and tribe and all that good stuff, where it's tribal combat for all the honor and tradition in the Samoan dynasty. Rock versus Roman in Las Vegas. Nowhere else but there. We've been waiting too long for this. It's been too long. We've been robbed of it from Los Angeles. We've been robbed of it in Philadelphia. Don't rob fans of it 3 times over. It is time. You have 7 months to build this up. You've actually been building it up since over a year now. But this time around, you've got a great setup to build this up, Triple H. Do not fuck it up. This is the perfect chance to build up this dream match. Rock versus Roman in probably one of the biggest entertainment capitals of the world, Las Vegas. This is your chance to do it. Probably one of the last chances to do it, if not the last chance to do it. Rock versus Roman is right there, sitting on your lap. They're not getting any younger. What, we're going to wait till London? You can't wait that much longer. You can't drag it out any longer. This is the perfect chance to do it. Don't fuck it up. This is the best chance that you got to do it. So don't wait. Don't wait till next year when you possibly could have it in London. Wait. Do it now. Do it now. The story is perfectly right now being told here and there. Rock, Roman, head of the table, tribal combat, the battle of honor of the Samoan family. It's that simple. Don't fuck over the fans 3 times over. So yeah, that was Bad Blood. Overall, I don't know, man. Everything in between the Hell in a Cell match and the main event, it's up for debate. I wasn't very sold on the Judgment Day matches. I thought they were very disappointing. Such a red hot feud during the summer, red hot story during the summer has really cooled off, if you ask me. Other than the Liv and Dom stuff, but yeah, it is really cooled off since the summer. The Bayley and Nia Jax match wasn't too bad, but I mean, I didn't really care all that much for it, but Nia Jax was pretty solid in the ring. But the Hell in a Cell match and the main event really saved the show. Like this, it really carried the show. It really saved it from being a very let down show. Like 2 out of 5 is not exactly good, but those 2 matches alone, it saved it from being very bad. Like I would say it's below average, like below average, like kind of decent. So it is what it is, but still, you got it. Like Triple H has to do better than this. Like Triple H really has to do better with his current stories right now. It's like you just can't be lounging, relaxing. It's like, crash. It's like, especially with one of your top stories on Raw, if not one of your top stories on Raw ending, and one of your other current top stories on Raw, you're fucking up right now. It's like, what are you doing here? And then over on SmackDown, at least you're reheating up that story with the Bloodline. But now you gotta, start heating up other stuff on SmackDown too. At least you're starting to do something with Cody that's not Bloodline stuff. I heard that he got attacked by Kevin Owens again. Now he's officially heel. So at least he's out of the Bloodline for now. But overall, Bad Blood, kind of below average show. That was saved by the 2 marquee matches being the Hell in a Cell and that main event tag team match. But it'll be interesting to see how the Bloodline stuff goes forward. When does The Rock show up next? What happens next with Roman and Jimmy? Do they finally convince Jay to come back to the fold? Will they get Sami Zayn involved back into the fold? Again, hopefully that's the case when they get back to Survivor Series. Bloodline versus Bloodline. Should be interesting stuff. What's next for CM Punk and Drew McIntyre? I don't know. But hopefully they got something brewing to keep them fresh. And should be an interesting a couple weeks going into a Survivor Series. Crown Jewel, not so much, to be honest with you. But anyway, that is my kind of long review of Bad Blood. Yeah, some things to talk about from a kind of pay-per-view. But yeah, that's all I got for you from this show. Yeah, that's pretty much it. But let me know your thoughts on this pay-per-view event in the comments below. What do you guys think about Bad Blood? What was your match of the night? What was your favorite moment, least favorite moment of the show? Let me know your thoughts in the comments on YouTube, or send me a message on social media at Very Cold Lasagna on either X or Instagram. But that is it for this episode of Very Cold Lasagna. I am your host, DylanLasagna. Thank you for tuning into this episode number 222 of this icy yet spicy podcast for all the filthy casual takes on the world of sports. And until the next one, eat that lasagna, very cold, in the fridge, on the world of sports. And in the next episode, we'll be back to talking football with the week that was, and will be around the NFL, week number 5 edition. But until then, peace out.